I believe that the task of a philosopher, as distinct from any other discipline, is to make a conceptual analysis of the term. तो मैं रिचुअलिस्टिक या कर्मकांडीय विधि पर नहीं जाना चाहूंगा, मैं सामाजिक संदर्भों की चर्चा भी नहीं करना चाहूंगा, क्योंकि मेरा मानना है कि that becomes a task of a sociologist, a political expert, or maybe the people who are doing something very important. But once, as a student of philosophy, I'm trying to do the thing, I'm actually analyzing the term. And that is why once I refer to religion as a philosopher, I'm not going to go to the Vedas. Why not? Because once I am going to abide by the Vedas, rather I'm doing religion. But once I'm going through the Upanishads, I'm doing philosophy. Because it is precisely in the Upanishads that we find various kind of interpretations, analysis, and conceptual investigation of the meta-narratives given in the Vedas. तो ये बात पूरी तरह से स्वीकार्य है कि वेदों के द्वारा ही हमको हमारे मेटा नैरेटिव्स या महावाक्य प्राप्त होते हैं, जिनको हम लोग सच्चिदानंद नेह नास्ति किंचन सर्वम खलु इदं ब्रह्म अयम आत्मा अस्मि या अहम ब्रह्मास्मि कह करके बुलाते हैं. और अगर आप उसे स्वीकार करते हैं क्योंकि वो वेदों में दी गई बातें हैं, निश्चित तौर पर धर्म के अनुसार ये पूरी तरह से सहज और स्वीकार्य है. But what is the task of me as a philosopher? Are the philosopher and the religious people the same? Or there is some difference in their task, in their nature, and in their objectives? And that is why we do believe that as a philosopher, we should focus on the Upanishads, where all the statements are interpreted with various formulations. शायद यही वजह है कि जब हम तत्वम अस्मि, तत्वम असि, अहम ब्रह्मास्मि या अयम आत्मा असि जैसे महावाक्यों का प्रयोग करते हैं, तो अलग अलग थिंकर्स उसकी अलग अलग तरह से इंटरप्रिटेशन निकालते हैं. शायद विशिष्ट अद्वैत के समर्थक किसी और तरीके से उसी महावाक्य का विवेचन करें, शायद अद्वैतवादी अलग तरह से विवेचन करें और शुद्ध अद्वैतवादी किसी अलग तरह से विवेचन करें. एंड दिस इज वेयर the task of philosophy starts. Now, at no point of time, any of the thinker would claim that he or she is having the real essence. What they claim is that this is one way in which the statement can be interpreted. And that is precisely the task of the philosophy. I would like to go by the statement of Bertrand Russell once he says that what philosophy does is nothing but the conceptual analysis of the term. अर्थात जब हम किसी दिए गए कथन, वाक्य, प्रत्यय, पद या विचार का वैचारिक विश्लेषण करेंगे, तभी हम दर्शन कर रहे होंगे. अन्यथा आप कोई बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण काम कर रहे होंगे बेशक, लेकिन क्षमा कीजिएगा, आप दर्शन शास्त्र नहीं कर रहे होंगे. Now, maybe it is because of the same reason that Wilfred Sellers gives this definition of philosophy as philosophy is the study of how the things are to be understood in the most general sense of the term. अर्थात जब हम वाक्यों या पदों को उनके सामान्यतम अर्थों में समझने का प्रयास करते हैं, तभी हम दर्शन कर रहे होते हैं. शायद यही वजह है कि एक फिलोसोफर, एक दर्शन शास्त्री कभी भी गाय के बारे में बात नहीं करेगा, वो गोत्व के बारे में बात करेगा. शायद वो एक विशेष मनुष्य के बारे में नहीं बात करेगा, बल्कि मनुष्यता के बारे में बात करेगा. और शायद वो किसी धर्म विशेष की बात नहीं करेगा, बल्कि धर्म को उसके सामान्यतम सैद्धांतिक अर्थों में समझने का प्रयास करेगा. And that is why once we talk about universal religion, my objective is to interpret the terms which are used in the field of universal religion and try to trace out various possibilities which are latent, which are hidden in that. Now with that background, allow me to start a very brief presentation of mine by which I would like to explain some of my humble ideas in front of you. So we should start on the topic, what are the various formulations of a universal religion? And I would like to make a critical exposition from the specific viewpoint of the neo-Hindu position. Now, as I have said, this paper is just an attempt to critically discuss the various formulations of universal religion with reference to its relationship with the notions such as religious plurality, religious tolerance of the neo-Hindu standpoint, and the various understandings these formulations have generated. Now, I will try to identify the formulation and understanding thereof. It seems to be the proper philosophical exercise. अब जैसा मेरे पहले के वक्ता ने पहले कह दिया है, मैं इसको केवल दोहरा रहा हूं इस पैराग्राफ में. A distinct approach to universal religion has been associated with Hinduism ever since the appearance of Swami Vivekananda at the World Parliament in Chicago, 1893. Now, this approach is believed to differ from that of all other religions, especially those of the West, the Occidental tradition. Just as the Hindu position on universal religion has been described in various factors like accommodating, Catholic, universal, open, and so on, it has also been formulated in several ways. So for the sake of clarity and precision, I shall divide the whole discussion in 3 separate sections. जब भी हम लोग यूनिवर्सल रिलीजन या सार्वभौमिक धर्म की बात करते हैं, तो आम तौर पे 3 अलग-अलग तरह के कथन या उद्धरण हमारे सामने आते हैं. या तो हम कहते हैं ऑल रिलीजन्स आर इक्वल, सभी धर्म समान हैं, या तो हम कहते हैं कि ऑल रिलीजन्स आर वन, सभी धर्म एक हैं, क्योंकि वो तकरीबन एक ही बात कह रहे हैं. और या फिर हम कहते हैं ऑल रिलीजन्स आर द सेम, यानी मूलतः सभी धर्म एक ही हैं. तो जब भी हम धर्मों के मध्य समन्वय स्थापित करने का प्रयास करते हैं, तो हम इन तीनों में से किसी भी एक कथन को अपने आशय के रूप में प्रस्तुत करना चाहते हैं. So let us analyze these 3 terms step by step. The first statement which comes is usually all religions are equal. Now, this particular statement is seldom met with in its stark version. It comes dressed in such versions as the equal validity of all religions are more or less equivalent, or all approaches to God are equally valid. Now, the general formulation on this seems to be that according to Hinduism, somehow all religions are equal. अब ऑल रिलीजन्स को अगर हमको समझना है, तो या तो हम नंबर ए ये मानेंगे कि ऑल रिलीजन्स आर इक्वली वैलिड, यानी वो समान रूप से वैध बने रहते हैं. रामकृष्ण परमहंस ने कहा, कोट अनकोट, God has made different religions to suit different aspirants, time and country. Every man should follow his own religion. A Christian should follow Christianity, a Mohammedan should follow Mohammedanism, and so forth. क्या अपना माइक म्यूट कर सकते हैं प्लीज? For the Hindus, the ancient path of the Aryan sages is the best. And here Ramakrishna uses a classic example. He says, as a mother in nursing her sick children gives rice and curry to the one, and sagu and arrowroot to another, and bread and butter to the third, so the Lord has laid out different paths for different people suitable to their peculiar natures. Thus, all religions are not regarded as equally valid in Hinduism. That is, all religions are valid but not equally valid unless we use the expression to mean that to each his own religion is valid. On another understanding, it has been asserted that all religions are more or less equivalent. Now, the word equivalent means equal in value. Again, I would like to as the young wife in the family shows her love and respect to her father-in-law, mother-in-law, and every other member of the family, but at the same time, she loves her husband more than these. Similarly, being firm and devoted to the duty of thy own choice, do not despise other duties, but honor them all. The third understanding says that
Hello.
all approaches to God are equally valid. This understanding represents a more sophisticated grasp of Hindu position than the previous ones, in that it says tersely what Ramakrishna Paramhans elsewhere says more felicitously. Indeed, one can reach God if one follows any of the paths with a wholehearted devotion. One may eat a cake with icing either straight or sidewise. It will taste sweet either way. However, the correct paraphrase to my understanding of this paragraph would be, quote unquote, all approaches to God are valid. The insertions of the adverb equally opens the box of misunderstanding as already shown. May I take the liberty to go even a step further and propose that what Hinduism does is not so much to assert the equal validity of all approaches as to deny the non-validity of any religion or approach to God. Thus, neither the general formulation of the Hindu position, all religions are equal, nor its particular understandings seem to reflect correctly the Hindu position on religious plurality. Now, there is, however, one sense in which all religions are equal in the Hindu perspective, namely, when any religion starts claiming that it is the only valid religion and all other religions are invalid. All religions are equal simply in the sense that if the Hindu chants the Vedas, if the Chinese meditates on the Analects, if the Japanese worships the Buddha, if the European is convinced of Christ's mediatorship, if the Arab reads the Quran in his mosque, and if the African bows down to a fetish, each one of them has exactly the same reason for his particular unique confidence. All religions are equal as religion, as religious entities, just as all men are equal as legal entities. When the truth is held self-evident that all men are created as equal, we do not mean that their height, weight, physical features, or IQ are equal. Rather, we mean that it simply intends that no individual is entitled to a privileged position. Nor does it mean that one man cannot be preferred over another man for a particular position. Otherwise, why do we have processes of examinations or processes of elections? Indeed, if anything is self-evident, it is that these are not equal but peculiar and particular in their positioning. The second statement says, with reference to universal religion, that all religions are one. Sabhi dharma, more or less, kamobesh, ek hi hai. The Hindu position is sometimes also described as the one which proclaims that all religions are one. Now, this statement has also generated a series of understandings and therefore a series of controversies as well. I would like to be brief here. The statement all religions are one has somehow generated the understanding that Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, Zoroastrianism all repeat the same message. This understanding does not seem to reflect a correct Hindu position because it would seem to be the Hindu position that the message may be identical but not in content, only in purpose. The statement that all religions are one, when held to be representative of the Hindu position, has generated another understanding that the diverse religions all led back to the same truth which was perceived by the mystic, the oneness of all things in the universal spirit. Ramakrishna. The devotee who has seen God in one aspect only knows him in one aspect alone. But he who has seen him in manifold aspects is alone in a position to say, all these forms are of one God, and God may be multiform because he is formless, nirgun, and with form sakar. And many are his forms which maybe no one knows. What has happened here is that the oneness of all religion are one has been merged with the oneness of the Brahmin. What this understanding seems to fail to recognize is that versatility of the ultimate reality is such that it is both one and many, nirgun and sagun at the same time. And that is the peculiar position which has got all the possibilities or the prospects of becoming a universal religion. Thus, when the fuller knowledge of the Vigyan is attained as soon as he is in the plane of world life, form and formlessness, Sagun and Nirgun are apprehended by the Vigyani as two aspects of the same reality. In Samadhi, he experiences Brahman as indescribable, anirvachaniya, transcending parabhautik, one and two, formless and form. In other words, the characteristic feature to be kept in mind while talking about the ultimate reality is not its oneness, but its indescribability, avardanita or anirvachaniyata. Not its unity, but its ineffability. If I dare to use William James' terms as he uses in the varieties of the religion. This is, however, one understanding of the formulation which will be consistent with the Hindu position. That happens when the formulation is understood to mean that all religions, though they are many, are not in that they experience their respective experience of the ultimate reality may not be the same, but they experience the same reality. With this, allow me to come to the third and the last section. All religions are the same. Now, this formulation has also generated numerous understandings, most of which at some point of time or other violate the correct Hindu position in this aspect. This formulation has been understood to mean all religions are means to an end, furnishing men with different but partial insights into the nature of reality of equal value. मूल्य के अर्थों में ये समान हो सकते हैं. Now, this understanding begins by being faithful to the Hindu position, but ends up by misunderstanding it. Thus, it is true that in the Hindu view, all religions are means to an end, but the insight into the nature of the reality may not necessarily be of equal value. They could, from a sectarian point of view, be relatively inferior or superior and surely not of equal value for all if differences in culture, context, temperament are taken into account. The second formulation, the second kind of interpretation is somehow understood to mean that the essence of all religion is the same. सार तत्व ही समान हो सकता है. This understanding is full of problems. Even if all Hindus agreed that the essence of all religion is the same, they may not agree on what that precise essence is. Of course, there can be overlapping. The third interpretation of this statement has been sometimes understood to mean that all religions are essentially the same. अनिवार्यतः एक हैं. Now, this understanding is slightly different from the former one, which posited an actual essence to be the same for all religion. Here, the understanding seems to be that really one basic religion and the difference in the religion is simply of appearances. Thus, in the previous understanding, one first formulated a particularity, namely religion, and then proceeded to identify a generality, namely an essence. Here, first a generality seems to be postulated, a sameness, and then all religions are looked upon as particularization of it, the classic aspect of a philosophical exercise. But again, we are not told what the sameness consists of. And then the formulation has been understood to mean that there is in all religion an abiding essence of the universal. Now, this understanding proceeds somewhat beyond the earlier ones. One is told something of the nature of essence that is abiding, and one is told of what the essence is. But obviously, The various religions historically have a beginning and presumably an end. Therefore, the religions could not be abiding only the essence. So what I'm proving here is that we are not supposed to talk about a religion, but the religion. So can it be said after this discussion, the essence of all the paths is the same, or that all paths of religion are essentially the same, or that there is in all paths an abiding essence of the universal? As a matter of fact, the usefulness of the paths lies in the fact that they are different, they should be different, and what could be the same is only the goal or the objective. Understood in this way, these essentialist understandings become more comprehensible to us, to a philosopher. Now, this leads us back to the formulation which generated these misunderstandings, namely, all religions are the same. It is not the religions which are the same, it is their goal which is the same. The point is this, that if all religions are the same, then what is the point in talking about conversion from one religion to another, or tolerance of one religion towards another? To see the point here, the Hindu belief in reincarnation must be recalled. The birth of an individual as a Christian or a Jew is not an accident, but an act of choice, albeit subconscious on his part in accordance with his mental impression acquired in previous birth. In fact, as Sri Chandrasekhar Bharati, so Swami of Sringeri Peeth says, when the American tourist from the Temptation wants to become a Hindu, he did not ask why convert to Hinduism when all the religions are the same. Indeed, that could as well be used to advocate his conversion, but explained, and this is my favorite quotation: it is no freak that you were born a Christian. God ordained it that way because by the samskaras acquired, what we call as karmas in the previous birth, your soul has taken a pattern which will find its richest fulfillment in the Christian way of life. Therefore, your salvation, maybe redemption or liberation, whatever you call it, therefore your salvation lies there and not in any other religion. Thus, both the formulation and its various understandings it has generated deviate to a greater or a lesser degree from the Hindu position. So, as a conclusion, I would like to emphasize my point of view. On the basis of the discussion conducted hitherto, it is apparent, it is clear that a correct statement of the Hindu position consists in maintaining that according to Hinduism, all religions are valid, and the correct understanding of the statement lies in taking it to mean that the validity of another religion cannot be absolutely questioned. Maybe this is the way we can think about a universal religion which can be practicable as well. Thus, the neo-Hindu position is not that all religions are equal, all religions are true, all religions are one, or maybe all religions are the same. Rather, the actual neo-Hindu position, as I want to interpret and emphasize here, is that all religions are valid paths. But that all religions are valid never means that all religions are of the same value for all the people and at all the time. Nor need recognition of the validity of all religions necessarily imply their approval by other people in other contexts. If we can have this kind of flexible, a little bit elastic perspective, maybe we would be having a fair enough idea of what the universal religion can be, which can be relevant for the present day scenario. So that was from my point, and I would like to end with the last statement. The fact that one tolerates something does not automatically mean that one approves of it. In fact, I find the term toleration a little bit derogatory in nature, and I want to avoid it, of course. And that is why I'm taking it in the very last slide. And in this context, with this understanding, religious tolerance does mean that the validity of the right of other person is accepted even while one is debating its value. One possible understanding of this formulation could be said in the conclusion, quote unquote, taken from K.M. Panikar, Hindu Society at Crossroads, published in 1961. Though one may prefer one's own path as being superior, the validity of another man's belief can not be questioned. And that is, I believe, a fair enough idea of what the universal religion can be. Thank you. Thanks for your patient listening. Thank you, sir. Sir, you are muted, sir.
धन्यवाद पंकज पंकज सर, आपने बहुत ही सुगम और सरल शब्दों में अपने व्याख्यान को हम सबों के समक्ष प्रस्तुत किया और एक नए पर्सपेक्टिव में यूनिवर्सल रिलीजन को समझने में हमारे चिंतन को एक नई दिशा देने का प्रयास किया है। इसके लिए मैं पुनः आपका धन्यवाद देता हूं और तहे दिल से आपके व्याख्यान के लिए मैं एक बार फिर से शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं। अब अगले